Welcome back. Today, we are diving into a really high-stakes moment from ancient history. We're talking about a rebellion on the very brink of collapse that makes this incredibly daring diplomatic play, a move that would completely reshape the world as they knew it. Let's get right into it.
So, this is the big question, right? It's the one staring Judas Maccabeus right in the face. He's leading this fledgling nation, and he is up against an absolute empire. Survival? It looks next to impossible. So what do? Well, you go looking for a bigger, tougher friend.
Now, to really get why Judas makes the choice he does, you have to understand the sheer scale of the threat he was up against. I mean, this wasn't just another war. For them, this was a fight for their very existence. The source material puts it bluntly: the kingdom of the Grecians did oppress Israel with servitude. This wasn't some kind of disagreement between equals. No, this was a brutal occupation, a yoke, and Judas was absolutely desperate to break it. He needed a game changer, and he needed it fast. Just look at this matchup. The imbalance of power is absolutely staggering. On one side, you've got Judas with his limited forces. On the other, the Seleucid Empire can field what the text calls a very great army. We're talking horsemen, chariots, and get this, 120 elephants. Those were basically the tanks of the ancient world. The odds were, to put it mildly, not in their favor.
But you know, when you're facing total annihilation, you start listening for anything that might help. And Judas starts hearing whispers, rumors of a new power rising way out in the west. He basically gets an intelligence briefing on a people called the Romans, and what he learns, it changes everything.
And what a resume the Romans had. It was just this long list of knockout victories. They'd conquered the Galatians. They'd taken all of Spain, not just with brute force, but with policy and patience. They'd beaten powerful kings like Philip and Perseus. And here's the most important part for Judas. They had already beaten Antiochus the Great, the leader of the very same empire he was fighting right now.
But their military might was really only half the story. The intelligence report also talked about their political structure, which was totally unique. And it was all centered on this one key number, 320. That's how many men were in their Senate.
And this just blew them away. Rome wasn't like the other kingdoms. Nobody wore a crown. Nobody walked around in purple robes to show off how important they were. Instead, you had a Senate of 320 men who met daily to make decisions for the good of the people. Each year, they'd hand over power to just one man, and everyone was obedient to him. And the report specifically mentions this stunning detail. There was neither envy nor emulation among them. Can you imagine? For Judas, who was used to the whims and paranoia of kings, this stable, organized, powerful republic must have seemed like the perfect ally. So based on this glowing report, Judas decides to take a massive gamble. He's going to reach out across the sea to this distant powerhouse and propose an alliance. It's a total long shot.
He doesn't go himself, of course. That's too risky. So he carefully picks his envoys, Eupolemus, the son of John, and Jason, the son of Eleazar. These are the two men he's entrusting with the fate of his entire people, sending them on an incredibly long and dangerous journey.
So the plan itself was pretty simple, but unbelievably bold. Step 1, Judas makes the call and sends his guys. Step 2, they undertake what the text calls a very great journey. And that is no small thing in the ancient world. And finally, step 3, they arrive in Rome, walk into the Senate house, and make their case. And their pitch was so direct. They stood before what was probably the most powerful governing body on the planet and just laid it out. Judas Maccabeus, with his brethren and the people of the Jews, have sent us unto you to make a confederacy and peace with you. They wanted to be official friends, allies of Rome.
So how did the Senate react? This tiny, besieged nation from across the sea asks to be friends. You'd think they might just laugh them out of the room. But no. The text says, simply, the matter pleased the Romans well. They said yes. And this wasn't just some handshake deal. They made it official. They had the entire treaty engraved on tables of brass, bronze, and they sent a copy all the way back to Jerusalem. Engraving it in metal like that meant it was permanent. It was a memorial of peace and friendship for everyone to see, forever.
So what did the treaty actually say? Well, it had this perfect symmetry. It was a true mutual defense pact. If Rome gets attacked, the Jews have to help with all their heart, and if the Jews get attacked, the Romans have to help with all their heart. And the really critical part, neither side was allowed to give any aid, no food, no weapons, no money, no ships, to the enemies of the other. It was clean, it was binding, and it was powerful. And the treaty opens with this amazing line. It's not just legal language, it's a blessing. It's wishing for success for both of them, forever, and hoping that war stays far away from them. It's such a powerful expression of hope for this brand new alliance. Now, here's the crucial part. The Romans didn't just sign this piece of paper and file it away in a dusty cabinet. No, they put it into effect immediately. At this point, the Seleucid king was a guy named Demetrius, and the very first thing Rome does as an ally is send him a letter. And they didn't mince words. They wrote to him directly about the evils he was inflicting on their new friends, the Jewish people.
And here it is, the punchline. The final warning from the superpower of the West to the superpower of the East. The message was unmistakable. If therefore they complain any more against thee, we will do them justice, and fight with thee by sea and by land. Basically, if we hear one more peep out of them about you, we will personally come for you with our armies and our navies. In that single moment, the entire balance of power had just shifted, dramatically.
So in the end, Judas got his powerful friend. He got a promise of protection that completely changed his struggle for survival. But it leaves us with this huge lingering question, doesn't it? When you ask a giant for help, do you actually game a protector? Or have you just invited a new and maybe even more powerful master right onto your doorstep?